Okay, 2 out of 4 channels live. So I'm gonna consider it all green. Normally I don't stream on Saturdays. It's a bonus stream because there's going to be some stuff in the house tomorrow, so I cannot stream tomorrow. So I'm changing the days this week. So a while ago, or specifically sometime in July again, I was working out this equation, which has many moving parts. Some of you may have seen this equation. One of our tweets. This has been sitting here in this online app. The Q is basically US multiplied by H of S and H of A, the difference of those H values. And you break this down into many other parts. Here. And KT and K1, all the KT values are combination of K values from 1 to 7, and then positive temperature, negative temperature, all this. So this is not maybe making sense. Give you a bit more context about what we are doing. And yes, the emails are still down. Let's go to the organizations. This guy, discussions, system. But the weather system part of it is implemented through equations. This is where we are from. So this equation is calculating how much evaporation is going to happen over time based on wind speed, the surface area, temperature, relative humidity. I believe a bunch of other little things, but mainly those 4. So a whole bunch of factors here go into the equation. At some point, this is where we were stuck. Instead of reading values from a picture like this, found a calculator, and by reverse engineering it, we came to this kind of formula. But this is not implemented in Godot, so today's job is to take all these numbers and put them into Godot, so we could have the result in this format. Let's say in what are we looking at here? In 40 hours, our 80 liters of water will be down to 30 liters, 30.14 liters. And it's hour 60, we are down to 20 liters. Actually, I think I misread this. Yeah, I misread this. Our 80 liters of water will be down to 40 liters in 30 hours and like 0.14, whatever that is in a number of minutes. So this is going to be the visual helper for us, but let's this kind of thing is usually a utility thing, some kind of a AI system. We already have a timer that ticks and does stuff. Here, this is worked out through hour values. We could consider every interval here in terms of minutes. We just have to do the right conversion here. So where should I start? As if I was supposed to add a bit more to this equation. So when it's raining and the lid is closed, the rain is not coming into the compost unit, but when we open the lid, the drying out is compensated by the amount of rain, and eventually you'll flood the unit, but that will happen after 56 hours, so it has to rain that much. Of course, this is taking into account that you are putting half a liter of water every hour. So that may be the here. This has to be a factor too. Variable. We'll fix that when we are importing this into Godot. Okay. So let's pretend we are first writing this part. E to the power minus Q over 100 T. T is the time. Every hour, it's going to lose some water. Let's go into Godot. This script inherits from nodes. We may treat this as a singleton for now. This is going to be a whole system here. It's going to be empty, and this is going to be a evaporation. Call this evaporation, and to the overload scripts evaporation. Did I not? Oh, I think I saved it in the wrong place, right? I most likely saved it in scenes or just in the root. Just two scripts. Scripts, vision, autoload, done. Now we need a test system. We'll get to that right after we write some of our. So this was the basic model, right? The linear model won't cut it. We know that this V is the wind speed. So since U is going to be part of Q, let's actually write this first. U is going to be such that speed is going to be meters per second. That's how I remember it. Took it as 5. Get B distance. Let's write comments meter second. So U is 25 plus 19. There might be a name for it. Let's look at it. In this case, it's called theta. Theta, evaporation coefficient. It's the official name. Is 25 plus 19 times okay, U is done. There's S. S is the surface area, which is 4 square meters. In this case, it's A here. Water surface area. This is actually assuming that the evaporation is happening open surface. I'm simulating this for a compost unit. Of course, in a compost unit, water is not truly exposed to the. It's mixed in with the other ingredients. But equations, we work them out so that this depletion is realistic enough. It's the real life conditions. We worked it out. So S is the area, surface area. I won't call it water surface. This is the area where compost is. When you take the lid off, how much surface area is exposed to the wind? And yeah, can we write it like this? And also where everything is actually in meter. Say. So we are really close to having a basic Q value. This. So HA and HS are important here. Even HS is sort of okay. It's based on one value here is calculated. HA is really complicated. That's where we'll dive deep into. So this has to be another variable, which is that actually has to be proper air pressure. The pressure, what is the in Pascal? We actually have water evaporated per second, so we just have to divide this by 3600 conversion. Amount of water, amount of evaporated water per hour is our equation. This is part here is Q. All this is actually the hourly rate. Okay, cool. Dive deep into, yeah, it is Pascal. Atmospheric pressure of moist air. This is the calculation of it. That's the difference. Atmospheric pressure. So it's some number times PW is the partial pressure of water vapor in. And there is a way to calculate that PW. And that is taking into account the temperature. And then this is PA, which is the air pressure. Based on what I found, it is essentially the value will be exploded. This one. So times 100 and decimals. Pascal, we should probably write the full value. So all this will be factored in, which means I kind of want to create a class here or dictionary. Um, I'll call it W as the weather. Jordan might have to store this somewhere else. It's here, so it makes sense to him. He can optimize. When you create a dictionary, you reference like this. So in which dictionary definition format we didn't need didn't actually need. We need it here. I thought in the equality case you don't really. Oh, sorry. I think what I'm don't need the double quotes if it's. Yeah, we will always need some comma. Let's see if this even works. Okay, let's do during D. We do int. We get W's evaporation coefficient. It's a problem there. We just need a way to run this. Let's write a basic test. Need a new scene. We are going to user interface. Let's call this evaporation. Save as in scenes. Test script so we can call our singleton. Good, and you're ready. Call operation. We can't I call it like this? It's done already. You don't really need this. Evaporation test, just run wind speed. Invalid get index. So this is what I'm thinking. It's like, how do you know inside that structure? Yeah, I'm missing something here. So I'm trying to access a property of the dictionary before I finish declaring it. So this is a bit, it's not exactly a constant. It's a calculated value. They're constants. This is not a constant. This is turning into a variable. Did you say here's weather constant? Because these will be tracked somewhere else. Only here we are interested in based on constants that are coming. So that's that. So now when we run this, of course now this structure, and here's an empty scene, and we have 120. Why do we have 120? Because 19 times 5 is 105. Sorry, 95 plus 25. So that is fine. Let's see. This is evaporation coefficient, corresponds to U. S is already, no, see this S, um, that is actually coming from a different system. It's coming from compost unit. Compost unit will have a property such as surface area, and it will also have water level, water amount. This will be that 80 that will separate things. Now, this h of s, x of s here, maximum humidity ratio of saturated air. It's a mouthful. Maximum humidity ratio of saturated air. believe that's the one that I clicked. Air humidity ratio. This is a generic formula, and then we maximum saturation humidity. Let's take this one. X. Is calculated as this formula. What happens when I copy and paste? The fraction of this over this. So 0 point, trust myself, copy this. You may times something. P something. PW. PW is this bad boy. Okay, let's call it P over something minus is actually the air pressure coming from the weather constants. Weather constants dot air pressure. We have a multiplication for the upper part and subtraction for the. So we need to know the value of P. P is, in this case, PW, partial pressure of water. Oh, same page. Close one. So I didn't select that last letter. So PW is calculated how? Calculated this way. That's going to be interesting. How can we do this efficiently? Let's take this. Let's do this way. What is P here? I believe I hard coded the P here, but this should have been P. 100,000, 101,320. Oh, sorry. P is actually the temperature. This depends on temperature. Yeah, I remember. It's coming back to me. It's a partial pressure of water vapor. So the hotter the temperature, higher the pressure of water vapor. That's why you feel higher than sort of under pressure in hot weather, because there's more water vapor, which applies more pressure on your skin. Now you know scientifically why you feel gross, which depends on temperature. I was running out of letters here, and T was time, so temperature had to be P, but PWs and P something else is actually temperature. So just the bare P is temperature, turning it into Kelvin temperature. Okay then. So when we put P into this equation, we get PW, then that PW is this P. So we need temperature, part of weather condition. We'll stick that as 25. Okay, and this is going to be the good old Celsius, because I don't want to deal with imperial forces. Okay, let's pretend we are writing the same equation, a line like this. How could I remove this? Maybe I have enough space. So we need something like this, A over B. Here's the whole A, here's the whole B. So what is B here? B is, let's write B. Um, um, I remember that -5 part. That's our interpretation of how this equation for normal water evaporation is working for the compost unit. So we are assuming that as water takes, it takes longer for water to warm up and be at the same temperature as air. So if air temperature is 25, we're assuming water temperature is 5. That that logic could be improved, but for now it's working out. So at the very least, I think throughout all these equations we have something like converting the Celsius temperature to Kelvin. So we need a temperature Kelvinizer. Is going to take temperature and it is going to return like that. Maximum humidity ratio. So this is the W, which is it's a horribly long name, but so whenever you need temperature Kelvinized, will this. So the intention is obvious. Kelvinized temperature this time. So we still have that unknown A over 1. 1 is P plus 273, which is the Kelvinized. So we actually do whether, okay, but we still have to do R minus. Okay, but that is not enough. I suppose this is what I can also do, because if I do -5, I'm also going to add 273. I can actually, okay, going to give the same. Now, this is still the bottom part. We have an exponent here, so we have to do power. So it's like this. The base is this, and the exponent is 8.2. It's missing one bracket here. Since the whole bottom is one equation, actually, power, it could be done. This A is still wrong. We do it this way, at least the brackets are checking out. Okay, this is a result of Calvinized temperature to the power, and that is basically just one section here. Further parentheses. So now the top part. So the top parts, I'll try to write it here as right above line 18. This whole thing, right over this, is the top part. Now that's an interesting part. Now that actually starts like this. What's the constant? It not quite like how do we get the constant pi? Just wanna, because this is going to be e to the power constants. There's pi. There's um xp. That's it. There's a function for this. It's the exponential. So we don't really need to do that. So anything that I write here is e to the power. So I'm essentially writing all this power part inside this. Which is interesting. But I think we made our job a little bit easy. Here is some number plus actually going to be multiplied. So p minus 5 plus 273 is essentially the same thing that we used here, galvanized temperature. That. And there's minus. Now you gotta be careful here with the order of operands. But we know that this is going to happen before the minus. Much is for sure. But when in doubt, always use brackets. Your intentions are pure and clear. Here's another Calvinized temperature. Now, you Calvinize the temperature. It's 5. 7235 is divided by that. Okay, that whole thing is subtracted by another multiplication here. The whole thing is added to this, and that's the exponent. These two things are divided. That is the partial pressure of water vapor in moist air, and for the long but it's the valid result, I'm hoping. So let's do some verification. We were able to get U in our test case. Okay. let's get evaporation dot maximum humidity. This also need to get pressure something. What are we trying to get? Partial pressure. Okay. Now the partial pressure is supposed to give us this. And then maximum humidity ratio is going to give us the HS, I believe. In fact, yes, that is. So we should see 120, then this, then this. Are we seeing that? We are not. So we screwed up somewhere. Or I did. Check our code. This is quite long. Okay, so I'll try to do something like this is the explanation. Partial pressure of water vapor in moist. Is it any better? Par prevap, partial pressure of vapor. We know it's air stuff. This is going to be here, going to be here. At least that's shorter. Now, galvanized temperature. Weather constants. Now, this is weather constants. I get it. Can we do something like this? W equals weather constants. Okay. Everything here can be W. We'll shorten things. And the longest thing here is the galvanize. Where did I screw this up? Pick a smart name for this. Max. Let's call this max humidity. Should be doing this. Our prevap. Okay, it's still going to be wrong. We haven't changed the numbers. Let's double check our values here. So this is when I'm going to do proper bracket system. Okay, these two should be bracketed, and these two should be proper brackets with the not that one, not all of it. This run it. Still no good. It's like double. That's 6, almost double. This is 4. This is not taken into account. Wind speed is 5. Air pressure we just typed. Because this is wrong. This is why is this wrong? Today is yes, only coding. I'm implementing this equation that I wrote a few months ago, Godot, so that I don't lose it. And it took quite a lot of effort to come up with this equation. It has so many moving parts. It's going to be a long day with the logic transferring the whole logic into. Hello to you too. Good night, sleep. You know what's funny? You are online and you're on YouTube, and yet when I look at the YouTube viewers, it's showing 0. So stream statistics are way off. Or YouTube is doing its funny stuff. I mean, if I pass -5, 20 plus 20, so this is working for sure. I'm not even going to question that. Um, I had a funny moment when I wrote this because when I found the equation somewhere, when I had to transfer it into this format, let me rephrase it. The equation in its simplest form, when I transferred it here the first time, it was not in this form. It was giving a wrong result. So this actually doesn't look quite correct compared to the original equation that I. Now that I'm trying to write this equation sort of back to sort of this written like a code form, it's also breaking apart. So my interpretation back then was the order of operations, but also whether this minus was actually a division or not. It's funny because I have a weird feeling that this is going to work. This maybe I may have to do this another break. Yes. Shouldn't be a wild guess like that. Natural exponential function. This is what we want. So yeah, it is strange. I think we are still talking about YouTube. This is strange too. YouTube is stranger. So again, the bottom part, this part. Um, it's just a division. It's some value, temperature, Kelvin. This is a float. That's all good. So the top part is, and the top part is giving almost twice the result. This should be almost a half. Like, we do another line here, and we do this. It's almost there. And why is that? So here's what we'll do. Go back here. Let's introduce some bullshit variable here. Bullshit variable. Here's the bullshit variable. Here's bullshit. So there's some stuff, the top part, right? Well, I want to isolate this part. Just want to put this here. This is the result we are getting. It is a very high number. Is it what Godot will give us? This bullshit number. It did not put it in. But I think I already see where it's going wrong. This doesn't look in exponential form like this, but I'm already seeing where the mistake is. So this is essentially you put at 23 times 0 here. Like you multiply it by 10 23 times. So this is going to be 3907 and a lot of numbers, digits. The fact that this is 78 and double this almost is the same problem. So the exponential is giving you double the result. So the bottom part is safe, we know that. So the top part is giving you twice the amount that we need. Okay, let's do some basic math here. We know that p is 25, so p minus y minus 5 is 20. So this is roughly around 300. Roughly around 300. 7200 over 300 is going to give you 24. Okay, so this is relatively little. So 300 by this is also going to be two more digits here. This is like half, 0.57 times that. This is also very little. So essentially, you are kind of looking at 77,000 something. 77 points. That is the determining factor. So if you cut all this bullshit, this is still going to give you something close to this. That's my guess. It actually gives you the fact that it's giving you this, which is close to this, makes me think the second half of it causing some shenanigans. So now, which one of these two is causing the trouble? This is a very insignificant part in the equation. So if you remove all that, and then we just come up with this number minus this number, which is here. If this gives us a result close to this, that means the second term is causing the mischief. Perhaps this is causing the mischief, and actually this is the more determining factor. Okay, I said the right thing, but let's cut this part out. Okay. This is going to give us a result close to this. Not. So altogether, you two are causing some trouble. See how close we are? What is it with you? You know, I'm going to force everything. Okay, that's it. It's the floating point problem. So as soon as you turn the output to float instead of integer, then you are no longer missing digits. It's oversimplifying. You're losing decimals, and it's all over the place. Now everything is correct. So our equation is correct. There's no need more. There's no need for more bullshit. Okay, done. At least the equation writing is solid. Good news. Let's cut the bullshit here too. Moving forward. So let's get rid of this one. So we've done this, which is partial pressure of water vapor in moist air, and maximum humidity ratio of saturated air is calculated as such that you multiply this one, 60,198 over 100,000. Okay, this is done. This is done. Maximum humidity is also checking out. This value is checking. I will also put this as float value because I think this is why we are losing some of the precision here, I would guess. And perhaps temperature will be like this too, and Perhaps this should be float as well. Let's see. I'm okay with that actually. I mean, yeah, we are losing decimals at some. Good enough. This is definitely going to. So we did HS, which is using PW. We've used U. I don't think we are using M. This is just for me to see the values in form. So we are now entering a security territory, which is H. And HA is monstrosity here. It looks simple, but you gotta find K of T. K of T has two values, whether the air temperature is below 0 or above 0. And then you have to calculate the correct K value, which is this madness. We'll get it done. We'll get it done. So what is H of A? What is H of A? Name-wise. Is humidity ratio air. Let's open that. Air humidity ratio. Air humidity. Okay. Air humidity. Bar air humidity. So this is the madness. Um, somehow, no, this is. Okay. I actually still went to the same page. We both go to the same page. But in here, in excess calculation, the formula was different and I had to go to another. This is the one we just calculated. So, okay, let me see. HA. Let me try to write HA. Just want to pick a proper name for it so that I don't confuse myself later. HS, which is excess here, is the maximum humidity ratio of saturated air. Humidity ratio of atmospheres. It's humidity ratio. This is still calculating the excess. This is that form. 62, 198. Where did I see this formula? There is a separate page for it. I remember hitting that page from somewhere here. Leads to the same page. This is a whole other thing, Mobius diagram. But then this had something to do with the Mollier diagram too. That's how we get going to yeah, this sentence will do it for me. Relative humidity, okay. But this part is new. I don't think they had this last time. Yeah, humidity ratio in here. That's the X value. Humidity ratio in here. And this is the maximum saturation here. So essentially the XS is going to be higher than X. And that is the part where we do the Mollier diagram, which is this, or there's the psychrometric condition. Now neither of these is helping me, so I had to reverse engineer something. That is fine. So essentially, okay, I am done with this. Evaporation, heat, enthalpy of water. I'm not sure if we are doing this yet. Okay, 2454. I think we might be doing that. This part. Can we do that? We are just calculating this. This is also calculated based on this, and this is the area, and you calculate it. Okay, we'll double check these values later. So, humidity ratio in I'll just call it humidity. Okay, so this is the madness part. That humidity is just copy this. I don't really need to copy it because I can see it, but well, I copy it because I can take the value. Right? So here's some value times k, k1 or kt. We'll call this kt as like k of t, right? Better than k of kfc, I guess. Bad joke. Over some brackets minus k of 1, 600. kt isn't declared in the current scope, no kidding. And that's where we'll define it. Now, before this, we gotta define all this stuff. K of k, k of p. This has to be calculated. So this almost looks so close to 273. It's as if there's something about Calvinizing this. Perhaps this should have been 50. gonna throw some numbers off, but do I even care? So this is a Kelvinized temperature. Kelvinized temperature. Temperature is weather constants W temperature. Okay, so this is going to give you 25, which is plus that. You divide this over 647. That's kk. Okay. Now there is kp, which is 1 minus kk. Okay. It's k1, which is number like this, and just kp power to 1, like power kp1, var k2 this times where you do the power kp 2. So essentially writing k3, but the constant is different. Then you do this, number 4, constant is different. And let's make sure that we are changing. There's k5 power to 5, right? K6 power to 6. Nope, we are back to power 2. Don't think I selected the last. Going to have to double check all this. Easy to slip up. Here's 1 billion. Okay. -7, a whole bunch of digits, kp. 26 something kp square. 168 kp cube. 64 quadratic. 5 418, 20 square, 1 billion 2 square. Okay, now there's another set here, BP. There's a whole other monstrosity here. And this is needed because you need the K temperature when it's positive or negative. So the KTP is going to be taken into account if the temperature is positive, and KTN is going to be taken into account the temperature. So this is going to be another fun equation. Times x. Here's the whole exponential. So the whole exponential is basically a over b. I want to write the a part first. So going to require some bracketing. K1 is K2 K3 plus K4 is K5. Okay, that whole thing is over B, which is its own bracket system. That's crazy. KK times some stuff. 1 plus. So I'll try to write this 1 plus. Let's write that first. This times KP plus K6. Double check. 1 plus something KP plus that. Because we know the order of multiplication and what. I don't need any other here. This will work. But this whole KK something is going to be done, and then we do minus. We could do another bracket here. Is that K5? Let's copy it. Could be K3, KP. Okay. KP over. Here's another bracket. K7 plus 6. 6. So that's some horrible equation. Does the job. It. Minus, minus, plus, minus. So that's just KTP. Okay. Here's some K1, P. We still haven't figured out the KT. KC. Var C. This is essentially Kelvinized temperature, W temperature, over 273. Okay. Now, var A temperature when it's negative here. Ooh, hidden fields here. Glad I pulled it to the right. That's going to be fun. So 100 times. Can I stick this 100 somewhere else? Could be 100 here, 100 here, right? Here. I'll add the 100 here. So it's going to be like 100H. 80. We are dividing it over 100 here anyway. I kind of wonder why we need it. See, KT is basically an if-else case here. Either one of these is bringing its own 100 here. So you're essentially... Did I write this HA? I think I did write it. So we'll do it this way. So forget about this 100 and cut down 100. And this Tn will basically be 100 times exponential. It's just going to be exponential. We are going to write the exponential. Copy the values. Times brackets 1 over kc minus, and this is times with minus 20 something, then you have the minus, which is here. This times, how do you write the logarithm? Log, but this is actually exponential. This is not the same as the log function on most calculator, which use the base 10 logarithm. So yeah, because normally most log functions are base 10. I'm looking for the base e, which is ln. Are you telling me that this is acting like ln? It is like acting. So when you do 10 ln, this is the result you are getting. So this log, okay, Godot's log function is essentially your ln. Tricky. 1 over kc. It is tricky because might be looking for something else there. Right? Here's plus times this plus log let me double check what I did. I have some number multiplied by 1 over kc by digit, then 1 minus logarithm, and that is the whole exponential. So we did it. Now, here's an if and else case for kt, which is going to be determined. Now, you could actually you could do that if else case here. Could be kind of like a humidify. Okay, humidify function will do something like if W temperature is less than 0, you are supposed to return H times. The fuck is H? H is the relative temperature, relative humidity, right? Constants 50. It's relative humidity. So we have to introduce that. So weather constants. There's actually probably a better name for that. So in relative humidity, that's what it is. Gotta put the comma. And let's actually call this relative humidity because it'll make some sense when we use humidity, or we'll just call it humidity. Relative humidity. So if the temperature is less than 0, where are you? Relative humidity times the negative temperature, Kelvin, KTN. Okay. But I said I should multiply it. No. I said that 100 is actually coming in here, simplified here. I already deleted it, so it's all accounted. If it's like this, then return relative humidity times KTP. Really what it is. So essentially, this could be written, turn this times KTN if W temperature is less than 0. Else K. Okay, let's just comment this out. Humidify. Okay, this humidify is gonna get into where exactly? We did this to calculate KT, which is this. KT is here. This is essentially humidification. We could have written that here actually, right? KT is an expression like this. Let's try that. Let's not make things functional. And let's put a bracket here just in case, like for readability purposes. So KT is here, K1 is here. Here's humidity, okay? Should be testing this. So essentially, if you read KT, you'd be getting this value, or times 100. Bingo. Over 100. So we are on the right track. The proper decimals. Things are looking up. So we could actually do this times 100. Holy moly. No, 158,299,499. Good. Which also means we could test HA, which is humidity, just this. This is where I have to be careful whether I did that 100th division or not. I was trying to be a smart ass about it. But in the end, okay, instead of getting this value right, which okay. Yeah, I should hit 100 here, right? Because I did not do it here. I can actually do it here. Let's say this or this. This is now going to okay. Everything is looking, yeah. Values are checking. Save. So we just simplified it further. Double check our values. 0.0091717 is the value we want. This is max humidity, value that we calculated here. This is, of course, I believe, still not taking into account. So this has to be 0.15 here for more precision, which is actually happening in our calculator here. And what's next? So did we do HA, humidity? We did HA, right? Is here. So now, going back to our calculator properly, we are still trying to calculate U times S times HS minus HA. We haven't done that part. The Q is depletion, actually. It's the decay rate. I'll call it as decay rate. This is going to be U, which is U is the surface. Sorry, U is the evaporation coefficient. Evaporation coefficient times surface area, surface, which is coming from the compost unit. Surface. Okay, times HS minus HA. HS here is, as we establish, is the max humidity minus humidity. And it's as simple as that. So this Q has to give us this kind of result. Let's move this down. Okay, let's do F6. And it's close enough. Let me type 15 here and just see what happens. So if this is going to go over 2.3, in other words, is it going to approach this result? 0.15. Yes, definitely. That's going to take it down. Going to take it up. Yeah. So 36631, 36631. This is approximated. Good. We have most accurate answer ever. So this is the depletion rate or decay rate, which is this part here. And that is divided over 100 anyway. Q is, you could actually do it this way too, counting for that over 100 here. So could do this as this. In layman terms, what this means is when you divide this over 100, if like this is liters, okay? So when I do this 100 over here, I'm not actually converting units. It's still going to be liters. Okay, no. Let me think. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Let me do that. Still thinking. Okay, without dividing this. Okay, so now it makes sense. So the previous result, I actually divided this over 100 for simplicity's sake because I'm going to divide it here. That's why this interpretation feels wrong. But before the division, this was 2.36, which means in 1 hour, our body of water is losing 2.3 liters of water. That's the evaporation rate. So that's the result you can actually see here. That's what I'm showing. So let's see. In 1 hour, get precise. That's what you see. In 1 hour, is this precise? Let me see. This looks like 1.78. Actually, you know what? This is correct because when I did the Q, I did not do the calculation over like the exponential. Things don't get depleted in a linear fashion. That's why we use the K rate in an exponential function. But I mean, higher the Q, the faster it's going to deplete. But we cannot just say it's this many liters is evaporating. The result of this equation is the liters that we are going to talk about. Short break, stretching my legs, and I'll be back. But I'll keep the screen on so you guys can read the crazy equations. Okay, let's continue the madness. The Q is done. The decay rate is known, and we are one step closer to having a proper evaporation value calculated for us. Because we'll assume either it's not raining or it's raining, the lid is closed, so this is going to be 0. Um, so maybe I'll do some kind of timer that is going to output values like each hour. In Godot, we are supposed to see the values decreasing to 40 liters like this after 30 hours. Maybe we'll put some range slider, all that stuff. Okay. So, this is we're essentially calculating water level. And this is the part I'll have the most difficulty, I guess, how to make this a functional thing, right? Because aesthetic value is fine, we read it, but this has to be dynamically calculated. You know what? Let's actually write that. Use our test scene. Use the scene. Okay, let's go back to Godot fully. Music is good. Times like this. Okay, evaporation test. We need at least 2 buttons. Rain on and off. Lid is on and off. We need a few sliders for temperature, surface area, all that. Let's stick all of you into a panel for the hell of it. Because why not? So let's go with button, toggle button, just a button. Just a button. This button will be toggle mode. Text will be rain. Okay. Let's just test this. So here is rain on off. Okay. Let's call this rain. Let's duplicate this. This is going to be composter lid. Okay. That is also in toggle mode. Done. Lid. Let's just call it lid. We need sliders. We need something for the temperature. Step. Spin box. Spin box. This is going to be air temperature. Let's stick a value here, 25. Steps could be 0.1. Maximum value maybe should be 50. Minimum value should be -50. This could actually be a slider too, doesn't it? What else? We need surface area, composed surface. Okay. That is also going to be minimum 0, maximum 20 is fine. Make it 4. We need wind speed. It's 5. I think wind speed could be, I don't know, like a hurricane, perhaps. Let's not exaggerate it though. Let's go. We have air pressure. That's what we did, right? Air pressure. Air pressure. That's actually going to be some really high number. Where are you? So air pressure cannot be 0. I don't think something that is 100,000 as value. I don't know how low can it get. Let's call it. Let's make it 80,000, and we'll take this value. Steps could be. Maybe we'll be so precise. I don't know. You could have relative humidity. And this is going to be measured in terms of percentage. Let's call this 50. Okay. Maybe this will be incrementing or stepping up one at a time. What else do we need? Wind speed done. Air pressure done. Temperature done. Relative humidity done. Surface area is okay. Water amount. That's what we'll see. I'll make this a V slider. It's going to be water amount. This is going to be value AD here. This max value is depending on how big the volume is for that. Minimum can be 0, of course. Let's say this is actually 200 liters. Okay. The step value can go 0.1. This won't be editable, mind you. We'll just see this. And let's do ticks. Let's have as many ticks as possible. All this is calculated for us. This is calculated. This is also calculated. So we might be done. Let's distribute all these in a nice way. Let's do V-Bucks. We'll need V-Bucks at some point. So let's stick the compost unit stuff here, right? All this compost. We need to stick this in here. Compost surface. Okay. Let's call this surface area. Okay. We need another V-Bucks for weather conditions. All this is weather conditions. We need another V-Bucks for constraints. Or more like events. Okay, and then this whole thing could be H-Box. Change this. Okay. I think this constraints should be there. Compost units, that should be at the end. Okay. And let's make this 600 is more than enough now. Maybe we'll make it a bit larger because I'm going to put some labels here because who knows what these are. This might also be H-Box. Yeah. Or yeah. So do something like, I don't know, 100, 200. We'll see. This is stretching too much. We'll figure it out. So let's start with this one, air temperature. We don't know what this is, so we need a bunch of we could turn this into a grid actually. Do that. It's a bit controversial, but whatever. Okay, we need a label here. And it's not going to let you do that. So we'll actually do something like this. LBL air temperature. Goofily named. Okay. We'll duplicate this multiple times. So we'll take speed. Put the speed here. We'll take it here. Stick it in here. Relative humidity is here. Just like that. This goes here. This goes here. There. So you are wind speed. You are air temperature. Let's actually take this shamelessly. All this separation here. Done. Air pressure. and relative humidity. And when we make this occupy 2 columns, we're in a good shape. Okay. Something like that. What's up? Gonna go sleep almost 2 a.m. here. Good night. Yeah, hey, it's India time. Yeah, it's in the morning, right? Film might be there. I'm not sure. The viewer count looks weird to me. So he messaged a while ago, but I'm not sure if he's still there. If he shows up, I'll pass on your greeting. Okay, let's run this. Yep. So have a good night. So we have to bind a lot of events now. But let's do the basic animation first. I need a way to display the water amount here. Need another label here. The label. This is going to be water in liters. It's an abysmal name, but what can you do? Some number like this. Okay. When this test scene runs, besides all this, what we are trying to do is to get some value from this decay. We know this. Uh, WIT is the amount of water, right? That's what I is because at T0, this is 1. The fact that this is showing 80 is B plus G over 2. That's a whole other approximation, which is 80. B plus G over 2 is 80. Yeah, I have to break this down too. I have an initial value, but that value is also changing if we keep adding more brown material or green material. Find a complex equation. So let's see. We'll tackle the material composition later. Let's assume that our initial water level is 80 liters. Which is 80 here. Okay. So there has to be a function here. Func. Calculate new water level. Something like this, which is going to return compost units water level times exponential. Let's move this again. Don't really need that much detail anymore. Good. Exponential minus q times t. We won't put the t here because there will be another mechanism that triggers this function. So the t will be triggering this function. There's going to be a timer that's going to trigger this function t times. So there won't be a t inside here, but t is factored in from outside. So minus q is the decay rate. We are not going to do the plus part yet. We're assuming it's not raining or it's raining but the lid is closed. Either way, this part is 0. We're only interested in this 80 coming down to 40 in about 30 hours. So starting with 80, this should actually give us 40 after some t values, some 30t, which means we need a timer. Okay, need a timer. This timer is going to tick one time. So we are assuming each tick is an hour. Okay, we'll start. Every time you time out, timer timeout, shamelessly use the default name. This is gonna come down here. Calculate new water level. Not taking any parameters, but it's actually going to return something. And the return value has to be assigned to the water amount in the slider. Also, let's store this here. I need to display this water in liters text. This is gonna return number. We'll do water level like this. Let's see if this works. Let me see. Well, there's no other way. It ran only once, but I see values 78 something. This went down, so okay, 78,129, which is good news because after 1 hour, we have the exact value that we got here. But this timer is not running multiple times. What is your problem, sir? Oh, it keeps running, but when we calculate the new water level, we are not feeding the water level back to the compost, which is here. So this always stays 80 liters. Hence, this part. So this has to work in tandem. So let's see. Essentially, what we are trying to do here is you are taking the existing amount you are applying the decay function, you're updating the water amount, you are returning it. That's what it is. Now this will work. Let's take this a step further. This is working, but we don't know. Well, we do know, but we want to see the visual feedback, right? Next to liters, maybe we should write something like liters left. And we need another label. Time passed. Okay. Time passed is each time it ticks, we'll actually do let's zero something here. Let's do time passed is 0. Okay. Time passed plus 1. Sorry. Take this. This str time passed. That could be done a little bit better. Hours passed. Um, 3D, let's tidy it up. And water amount and water in liters, this could be put inside the V-Box. Done. It's gonna look awkward no matter what. It's just a test interface anyway. Let's create another label here. Compost. This is actually the label for surface area. Okay. Post. U and U should be wrapped inside the V-Box. Sure, why not? Okay. That. Here. Here's this. Hmm. V-Box. Size blanks. Expand. Compost unit. And what am I doing wrong? That's it. So we are hoping it's going to hit 40 liters in 30 hours. Bingo. So it's going to hit 20 liters. $58, 59 hours. That's it. 58 to 59. You are crossing the threshold of 20. That's it. So this graphic that we see here, we have the equation that is, well, here's the equation that results in this graphic, but we are now able to do this in Godot. And the values that we are outputting are matching the values of this graphic. Good news. Now we can actually change stuff here. Of course, these events are, there's no events. We haven't bound these change events to the main calculator. It's assuming that these values are fixed. We can do that, the binding. So we can actually see the effect of wind speed picking up or the air pressure getting low or high on the depletion rate. Need to catch my breath and attack the next topic. Maybe have lunch. I'm deciding whether I should continue or not. I need to introduce 2 more sliders for Spinbox to type the amount of material we want to add to the compost unit, which will drastically change the water composition. I think I'm going to stop the stream for now, have some lunch or dinner. I may continue after that because there's a lot of things to implement here. If I get involved right now, it might take a while. We'll see. There will be most likely another 0.1 stream later. So I might be back in the next hour, but I don't want to pause the stream and just keep you waiting for an hour. So I'll hit the stop button. But we'll continue with implementing this graph in code in Godot. We have just written the test case for it. We just have to introduce a few more conditions from the original work. We'll do that after.